Hi there. If you're like me, you listen to a lot of music. Back in the old days, that meant vinyl and CDs, and of course the radio. But the world has changed since then, and now music is listened to a lot online through streaming services like Spotify or Amazon or whatever else streaming service you happen to use. You might have a phone that you listen to most of your music on, or your PC, or some sort of device like an Alexa or Sonos or whatever else happens to be out there that you have in your house. However, many of us still have hi-fi stereo systems. Remember those? Yes, I'm talking about receivers and amps and big stereo speakers. I got a really nice stereo system way back when I was in college from a place called Harvey's on 45th Street. They sold really high-end stuff, and that's where I got my speakers and my amp and my turntable and so on and so forth. The other day I was sitting around my house and I thought to myself, I wish there was a way I could stream the music that I'm listening to my good old stereo system, which I had been using mostly to play CDs and vinyl and stuff. So I thought to myself, there's probably something out there and it's probably really expensive, and you hook it up to your stereo system. So I went online and I checked, and I found this thing by Logitech. It's a Bluetooth audio receiver. Play music wirelessly to any speakers. Easily connect most computer speakers, home stereo systems, or AV receivers. Plug the Bluetooth audio receiver into an AC power source and pair with your Bluetooth enabled smartphone or tablet. Well, that's simple, and it costs about $29.99. I went over to Best Buy. They said they had a few in my neighborhood, and basically they had 3 there, so I picked one up for $29.99. And let's take a look to see how it works. The Logitech Bluetooth audio receiver. Let's get it unboxed. Here's the power adapter. Here is the audio cable, a 3.5mm jack to left and right stereo RCA cables that you can use to connect to your stereo. And here is the Bluetooth receiver itself. If you like, you can use the RCA outputs to connect to your stereo instead of the 3.5mm output. There's non-slip rubber on the bottom. Also included is a quick setup guide. By the way, I used to use this cable to connect my phone directly to my stereo, but for some reason the headphone jack stopped working on the phone. I don't know if that was the reason, but I didn't want to risk it on my new phone, so that was another reason why I wanted to get the Bluetooth receiver. So let's get it set up. Here is my stereo system, complete with my original circa 1980s Denon turntable, which still looks and sounds great. The speakers are Boston Acoustic A150s. They deliver excellent, balanced, and tasteful sound. The audio quality from these speakers is superb. However, I'm not going to plug it into that system right now because I am in the middle of moving some stuff around and I didn't get a chance to hook it back up. Instead, I'm going to test it out on this stereo system over here that I was keeping in the bedroom, but which happens to be all set up on this chair. It's got a pretty good Onkyo receiver and a Sony CD player. The 2 Sony speakers on the top, however, are a far cry from the Boston Acoustic A150s. However, at some point I picked up this powerful Sony subwoofer, which I added to the system, and with it, it's surprising how good it sounds. The subwoofer does a really good job of filling out the bottom and makes the Sony speakers sound full. I connected the RCA plugs from the Logitech Bluetooth audio receiver's cable to the tape input on the receiver. And I plugged the other side into the unit. Then I connected the power adapter and plugged it into the electrical strip. The Logitech Bluetooth audio receiver showed up right away on my phone, and pairing to it was easy. I decided to test it out with More Than This, a song from Roxy Music's classic album Avalon. So I just finished listening to some songs, a bunch of different songs, using the Bluetooth audio streaming device from Logitech, set up to a stereo system. I think that this device is good, and I would certainly recommend getting it, especially if you want to stream some music. You know, you're doing things around the house or cleaning up, you want to listen to some music, or even if you want to sit down and listen to it. You'll be surprised, I think, how good it sounds at times for really, really intense audiophile type of people who, you know, are you know, really want to get the depth, that as much depth as they can from the music. You know, you might want to think of some other solutions or an MP3 player or whatever. But the point that you're streaming it from a service like Spotify means that you have access to millions and millions of songs and millions of albums, almost anything you want to listen to it, and the quality is very, very good. I don't think you'll be disappointed, and I think that for a lot of people, for example, you know, who aren't audiophiles, they might not even be able to tell the difference. It certainly sounds a lot better than the radio. So that's about sums it up. It's a really nice device. I definitely give it a thumbs up. I would definitely recommend it, and it's great for casual listening or streaming all kinds of music. But it lacks a little of the depth that you might find off of vinyl or CD or maybe a high quality MP3 player. But you can't stream all those things unless there's a service that really streams high definition audio that I don't know about, which is entirely possible. Anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching this review of the Logitech Bluetooth audio streaming device. Have a nice day and see you next time. By the way, press like and subscribe.